Have you ever noticed how the most profound changes in your life began not with some dramatic external event, but with a quiet shift within? In the spaces between chaos and calm, between rushing and resting, there exists a sacred opportunity for transformation. This opportunity doesn't announce itself with fanfare or dramatic revelations. It whispers to you in the early moments of dawn, when your mind is still unburdened by the world's demands. It lives in the consistency of small deliberate acts that, like water-shaping stone, gradually carve new pathways through the landscape of your being. The ancient wisdom of transformation isn't found in sudden breakthroughs, but in the humble reverence for daily rituals. Before we begin this journey together, I'd like to express my gratitude for your presence and invite you to subscribe if this wisdom resonates with your spirit. To invest the right effort in climbing that peak, it's very much what all the Buddhist practices, the Shaolin training, or any spiritual practice is about. Clarity means you see more clear. Morning arrives whether you welcome it or not. But how you meet this dawn, this matters profoundly. Consider the difference between two beginnings. In one, you're jolted awake by an alarm, immediately reaching for your phone, allowing the world's chaos to flood your consciousness before your feet even touch the floor. Your mind becomes a vessel for others' agendas, filled with notifications, news, and noise. In the other beginning, you rise deliberately, protecting these first fragile moments. You honor the silence. You breathe. You move your body with intention. You cultivate stillness before engaging with the external world. Which of these beginnings truly belongs to you? The ancient wisdom of Shaolin traditions teaches us that self-mastery begins not with controlling the world around us, but with owning our internal landscape. Master Shi Heng reminds us that own your life is the foundation of all transformation. Yet how many of us have surrendered ownership of our most precious resource, our attention, before breakfast? Your morning hours are not merely the start of your day. They are the sacred window when your mind is most receptive to programming. Neuroscience confirms what spiritual traditions have known for millennia. The brain exists in different states of receptivity throughout the day, with the alpha and theta states predominant upon waking. These states represent the direct pathway to your subconscious mind, the soil in which all lasting change must be planted. Consider the entrepreneur who built an empire, yet lost herself in the process. From the outside, her life appeared as a monument to success, profitable business, social recognition, material comfort. Yet inside, a hollow emptiness grew. Her days began with immediate reactivity, checking emails before her eyes fully opened, responding to others' urgencies, drowning the voice of her own purpose in the noise of constant productivity. Success had become a prison of her own making. Her transformation began not with a dramatic business pivot or external change, but with a simple commitment to reclaim the first hour of her day, to sit in silence before engaging with the world's demands, to breathe consciously before speaking, to move her body intentionally before racing through tasks. These weren't grand gestures, but small rituals practiced with religious consistency. Day after day, she protected this sacred space from intrusion. No phones, no news, no reactive patterns, just presence. This practice runs counter to our culture's addiction to stimulation. We have been conditioned to believe that transformation requires dramatic external change. A new job, relationship, location, or appearance. We chase the dopamine of novelty rather than embracing the deeper satisfaction of mastery through consistency. Yet lasting change follows a different path. Have you noticed how the mind resists simplicity? How it craves complexity as an excuse for inaction? If only I had the perfect morning routine, we think, then I would transform. Yet the most powerful rituals are often the simplest. Breath, movement, silence, intention. Their power lies not in their complexity, but in their repetition. What small ritual could you practice with unwavering consistency? What promise to yourself could you keep every single day regardless of circumstances? This is where transformation begins. Not in grand declarations, but in humble devotions repeated until they become your nature. The truth that many spiritual traditions share is this: your identity is shaped not by what you think or feel, but by what you consistently do. The entrepreneur discovered that confidence didn't come from achieving goals, but from honoring commitments to herself, no matter how small. Clarity wasn't found in strategic planning sessions, but in daily moments of stillness that allowed her to hear her own wisdom above the world's noise. How different might your life become if you treated the first hour of your day as sacred ground, a territory to be protected rather than surrendered? What clarity might emerge if, before engaging with others' agendas, you first established communion with your own deepest intentions? The rituals that transform us need not be elaborate or time-consuming. They need only be authentic and consistent. 5 minutes of genuine presence, outweighs an hour of distracted practice. A single conscious breath, taken with complete awareness, can reset your nervous system more effectively than many complex techniques performed without heart. What matters is not the form, but the integrity with which you approach each moment. Can you bring your full attention to the simplest acts? Can you wash your hands with complete awareness? Can you drink water as if for the first time? Can you breathe as though each breath were precious? This is the path of transformation, not through extraordinary acts, but through bringing extraordinary presence to ordinary moments. The 5 hindrances are describing different states of the mind. In those states of the mind, it becomes very hard to see clearly, and therefore engage in the right decisions. The path to clarity is obstructed not by external circumstances, but by internal conditions. Master Shi Heng speaks of 5 hindrances that cloud our perception and prevent us from seeing reality as it truly is. These hindrances, sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and skeptical doubt, are not merely philosophical concepts, but practical obstacles we encounter daily in our quest for transformation. Consider how these hindrances manifest in your morning rituals. Sensual desire appears as the craving for comfort that keeps you in bed rather than rising for your practice. Ill will emerges as the irritation you feel toward the very disciplines you've chosen for your growth. Sloth and torpor visit as the heaviness and lack of motivation that whisper, just this once, you can skip your ritual. Restlessness manifests as the inability to settle into presence, your mind constantly jumping from branch to branch like the proverbial monkey. And skeptical doubt undermines your practice with questions. Is this really working? Is this worth the effort? What's the point? These are not failures of character, but natural conditions of mind that every practitioner encounters. The difference lies not in whether you experience these hindrances, but in how you respond to them. Return to our entrepreneur's journey. After committing to her morning ritual, she immediately encountered resistance. Some mornings, the comfort of her bed seemed irresistible compared to the meditation cushion, sensual desire. Other days, she felt irritation toward the very practice she had chosen, ill will. There were periods when lethargy made even the simplest movements feel impossible. Sloth and torpor. Often her mind raced uncontrollably, planning the day's activities rather than remaining present. Restlessness and frequently doubt crept in. Is this ritual actually changing anything? Skeptical doubt. What distinguished her path was not the absence of these hindrances, but her relationship to them. Rather than being defeated by their appearance, she learned to recognize them as temporary conditions, clouds passing through the sky of awareness, rather than the sky itself. She developed a 4-step method similar to what Master Shi Heng teaches. First, she learned to recognize which hindrance was present. This is restlessness arising. Second, she practiced acceptance, allowing the condition to exist without judgment or resistance. I see you, restlessness, you're welcome here. Third, she investigated with curiosity rather than criticism. What is feeding this restlessness? What does it need? Fourth, she practiced non-identification, understanding that she was not these temporary states. This restlessness is passing through me, but it is not me. This approach transformed her relationship with internal resistance. Instead of seeing hindrances as enemies to be conquered, she recognized them as teachers revealing aspects of her conditioning that needed attention and compassion. The wisdom of this practice lies in its recognition that transformation doesn't occur by avoiding difficulties, but by developing a new relationship with them. This mirrors the Shaolin approach to suffering described by Master Shi Heng. We are not running away from the suffering. You are overcoming it. You go through it until you have become so strong. Your body becomes so strong, your mind has become so strong that it doesn't matter afterwards anymore. Consider how this wisdom might apply to your daily rituals. When resistance arises, and it will, can you meet it with this same 4-step approach? Can you recognize, accept, investigate, and avoid identification with the temporary conditions that arise? This is not merely a technique, but a profound reorientation to your inner experience. The entrepreneur discovered that overcoming these hindrances wasn't about forcing herself through willpower, but about developing a more spacious relationship with her own experience. She learned that resistance, when approached with awareness, rather than reactivity, becomes the very fuel for transformation. Each morning she sat with whatever arose: comfort cravings, irritation, lethargy, restlessness, or doubt. And through this consistent practice, these hindrances gradually lost their power over her. What emerged was a profound shift. Her business decisions became clearer, not because she had more information, but because she had removed the internal obstacles to seeing clearly. Relationships improved not because others changed, but because she no longer brought the clouds of her hindrances into her interactions. Her sense of purpose strengthened, not because she found new external directions, but because she could hear her inner compass without the static of these 5 mental conditions. This practice of working with hindrances, rather than being defeated by them, represents a radical approach to transformation. It suggests that our obstacles are not preventing our growth, but are precisely the territory where growth occurs. The resistance you feel toward your morning ritual is not a sign that you're failing, but an opportunity to develop a new relationship with difficulty itself. How might your approach to daily rituals change if you viewed resistance not as failure, but as the very ground of practice? What if the days when you least want to maintain your ritual are actually the most important days to do so? This society is too weak. And why? Because of all the technology which is available right now, so you don't need to use your body anymore. Get more physicality into your life. In our modern pursuit of comfort and convenience, we have inadvertently created a profound disconnection between mind and body, between intention and action, between knowing and embodying. Information flows freely, yet transformation remains elusive. We consume endless content about personal development while remaining fundamentally unchanged. Master Shi Heng points directly to this paradox. If you only have theory without the practice, then it's just book knowledge. The Shaolin tradition offers a corrective to our modern imbalance through its emphasis on physicality. This is not physicality for its own sake, not merely to build strength or aesthetic appearance, but physicality as a vehicle for developing mental and spiritual qualities that cannot be acquired through intellectual understanding alone. Return to our entrepreneur's journey. After establishing her morning ritual of stillness and presence, she recognized something was still missing. Her mind had become clearer, but this clarity wasn't fully translating into action. She could see what needed changing, yet still struggled to embody these changes consistently. The turning point came when she integrated physical practice into her morning ritual. Not complex or demanding exercises, but simple, deliberate movements performed with complete attention. She began with 10 minutes of conscious breathing while moving through basic Qigong postures. These weren't strenuous or complicated, but they required her complete presence. She couldn't perform them while planning her day or ruminating on problems. They demanded her full embodied attention. What she discovered echoes Master Shi Heng's teaching about the value of physical training. I don't care how hard or how fast somebody can punch, but I care about how is the mindset. The physical practices weren't valuable primarily for their effects on her body, but for how they transformed her relationship with difficulty, choice, and commitment. When her muscles began to tire, when her mind wanted to quit, when discomfort arose, these moments presented the same fundamental choice we all face throughout life: to retreat from challenge or to remain present with it. Each morning, through these simple movements, she practiced choosing presence over avoidance, commitment over comfort. And gradually, this capacity extended beyond her morning practice into her business decisions, relationships, and purpose. This approach stands in stark contrast to our culture's avoidance of physical discomfort. We have engineered convenience into every aspect of life, removing the very resistance that builds not just physical, but mental and emotional strength. Master Shi Heng observes, I always think about in the Stone Ages. Do you think somebody in the Stone Ages had depression? All of these groups, they are too busy with their body. They are too busy with activity to be depressed. While this observation may be somewhat simplified, it points to a profound truth. When we engage our bodies fully in meaningful activity, certain forms of mental suffering have less space to flourish. The mind and body are not separate entities, but aspects of a unified whole. Physical engagement changes not just the body, but the quality and texture of consciousness itself. What physical practice could you integrate into your morning ritual? It need not be strenuous or time-consuming. Simple movements performed with complete attention are more transformative than complex exercises done with a distracted mind. The key is not the form, but the quality of presence you bring to it. The entrepreneur found that these 10 minutes of movement created a bridge between her meditation practice and her active day. They helped her embody the qualities of presence, commitment, and clarity that she was cultivating in stillness. The integration of stillness and movement created a more complete foundation for transformation than either would have alone. This physical dimension of practice also builds resilience, not just the ability to endure difficulty, but to transform through it. As Master Shi Heng explains, the Shaolin approach is a little bit different. We are overcoming the suffering. We are not running away from the suffering, you are overcoming it. You go through it until you have become so strong, your body becomes so strong, your mind has become so strong that it doesn't matter afterwards anymore. This capacity to remain present with difficulty without being overwhelmed by it represents one of the most valuable qualities we can develop. It allows us to face challenges, whether in relationships, work, health, or purpose, with a steadiness that comes not from avoiding pain, but from having developed a new relationship with it. How might your approach to transformation change if you integrated this physical dimension of practice? What if the path to mental clarity and emotional resilience included training your body to stay present through discomfort rather than avoiding it? What simple physical practice could you commit to with unwavering consistency? So everything is starting with yourself. What you want to see in this world, what you want to bring into this world, whatever you think is missing into this world, whatever you want to bring in, first of all, show it. First of all, you be the representative of what you think is missing there. The journey of transformation through daily rituals extends far beyond personal benefit. As your practice deepens, a natural ripple effect emerges. The clarity, presence, and strength you cultivate through consistent ritual begin to influence every relationship, decision, and environment you touch. Our entrepreneur discovered this truth as her morning rituals gradually transformed her approach to business. The clarity she cultivated in silence began informing strategic decisions. The presence she practiced in movement translated into more authentic leadership. The resilience she developed through facing resistance enabled her to navigate challenges with steadiness rather than reactivity. What began as a personal practice to reclaim her sense of purpose expanded into a complete reimagining of her business. She no longer viewed success merely through metrics of profit and growth, but through the lens of purpose and impact. Her company pivoted towards solving meaningful problems she deeply cared about, attracting team members who shared this vision. This shift didn't occur through strategic planning sessions or business consultants, but emerged organically from her transformed consciousness. The qualities she cultivated in her morning ritual, presence, clarity, resilience, purpose, naturally expressed themselves in her leadership, decisions, and vision. This illustrates a profound principle. Genuine transformation always moves from inside to outside, from being to doing. When you change how you meet each moment, with presence rather than reactivity, with clarity rather than confusion, with purpose rather than habit, everything you touch changes in response. You don't need to force external change. It emerges as a natural expression of your internal shift. Master Shi Heng articulates this principle clearly, but you can only care for someone or for something if you know how care feels. You can only love someone if you know how love feels. If you don't have love inside of you, how can you give it? This understanding reverses our typical approach to change. Rather than trying to transform our relationships, work, or world directly, we focus first on cultivating the qualities we wish to see expressed. We become, in Shi Heng's words, the representative of what you think is missing there. If you wish to bring more compassion into your relationships, you first cultivate compassion toward yourself through your daily ritual. If you wish to create more beauty in the world, you first create beauty in your immediate environment and actions. If you wish to establish more justice in society, you first practice fairness and integrity in your personal choices. This approach recognizes that we cannot give what we do not possess. The entrepreneur couldn't create a purpose-driven business until she had reconnected with her own sense of purpose through daily ritual. She couldn't lead others with clarity until she had established clarity within herself. She couldn't build a culture of authenticity until she had practiced authentic presence in her own life. What quality do you wish to bring more fully into the world? How might your daily ritual become a laboratory for cultivating this quality within yourself? This is not self-improvement for its own sake, but the recognition that you cannot contribute what you haven't developed. The ritual becomes a container for practicing the very qualities you wish to express more fully in your life. If patience is needed, your ritual becomes an opportunity to practice patience with yourself. If courage is required, your ritual becomes a space to face your fears with presence. If honesty is lacking, your ritual becomes a time for ruthless self-examination. The entrepreneur found that as she cultivated presence, clarity, and purpose in her morning practice, these qualities naturally expressed themselves in her business decisions. She didn't need to force this expression or constantly monitor her behavior. The qualities simply flowed from who she was becoming through consistent practice. This points to another dimension of transformation. When we change from the inside out, the change is sustainable because it's aligned with our nature rather than imposed against it. We're not trying to become something other than ourselves, but are instead uncovering and expressing our authentic nature more fully. Master Shi Heng suggests that wisdom emerges naturally from consistent practice. Along this way of training myself, of knowing my skeleton, knowing my muscles, knowing my organs, knowing my energies, along this way sometimes, some wisdom starts to emanate. And it is my honest belief that this comes because of the practice and not because of reading books or anything like this. What wisdom might emerge from your consistent ritual? What clarity might dawn, not through acquiring more information, but through being more fully present with what you already know? What qualities might naturally express themselves in your life, not through forced effort, but through the consistent cultivation of presence? Have you noticed the moments when clarity suddenly emerges within you? Were these moments often found in stillness, in the spaces between activity, rather than in the rush of doing? What small ritual could you practice with absolute consistency, regardless of how you feel or what demands press upon you? Remember that transformation requires not grand gestures, but humble commitments kept religiously. Which of the 5 hindrances most frequently obstructs your clarity? Sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness, or skeptical doubt? Can you practice recognizing this hindrance when it arises, accepting its presence without judgment, investigating its nature with curiosity, and remembering that you are not defined by these temporary states? How might you integrate physical practice into your morning ritual? Not necessarily strenuous exercise, but deliberate movement performed with complete attention. What quality of presence could you cultivate through this embodied practice? What quality do you most wish to bring into the world? How might your daily ritual become a laboratory for cultivating this quality within yourself before attempting to express it outward? Can you commit to protecting the first hour of your day from external intrusions? No phones, no news, no reactive patterns, and instead dedicate this sacred time to presence, intention, and ritual. The journey of transformation through daily ritual is both simpler and more profound than we imagine. It doesn't require elaborate practices or perfect conditions, only the willingness to show up consistently, to face resistance with presence rather than avoidance, and to recognize that lasting change emerges from within. Your morning ritual becomes a microcosm of your larger transformation. The way you meet resistance in your practice is how you'll meet challenges in your life. The presence you cultivate in stillness will infuse your activity. The clarity you establish before engagement will guide your decisions throughout the day. Begin where you are. Choose one simple practice that resonates with your spirit. Perhaps 5 minutes of conscious breathing, a brief meditation, gentle movement, or reflective writing. The form matters less than your commitment to showing up for it with integrity, day after day, regardless of how you feel. Remember Master Shi Heng's wisdom. Everything is starting with yourself. The qualities you wish to express more fully in the world must first be cultivated within. Your daily ritual provides the sacred space for this cultivation, a container where transformation can occur not through force, but through presence. If you found value in these reflections, please share them with others who might benefit. Together, we create a ripple effect of transformation that extends far beyond our individual practices. Your commitment to inner clarity through daily ritual contributes to the collective awakening we so desperately need. See you next time. Keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and your spirit evolving.